Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here this Wednesday night. There were new warnings today from the White House, what they're seeing in younger patients and the coronavirus now in all 50 states. President Trump calling himself a wartime president. In this country, the virus has now sickened at least 7,700 Americans. And of course, they believe that number is likely much higher given the very slow start in testing. Tonight, the death toll, at least 135. And to give you an idea of how quickly this is now spreading in this country, you can see how steep that curve is. A six-fold increase in a week, and again, the White House urging Americans to keep a safe distance from one another, to try to flatten that curve, to slow it down, to give hospitals a fighting chance. Tonight, the president says he may invoke the Defense Production Act, meaning he could call on industry to produce critically needed medical equipment, ventilators, masks, and other supplies. And the U.S. and Canada closing the border to all non-essential travel. Alarming numbers on unemployment today, and the White House tonight now wants to send 2 checks out to American families. For how much and when would they come? We have it all covered for you. Here in New York City tonight, cases doubling in 24 hours, what they're now seeing here. And the New York governor confirming a Navy hospital ship will be sent to New York Harbor. Tonight, critical shortages of medical supplies remain across the country. You're going to hear from ER doctors the reality inside their hospitals. And the long lines tonight for testing. These images from Albuquerque, and we saw it in so many places. Tonight, Dr. Jen Ashton with a new and important study, how long coronavirus lasts in the air and on surfaces. So let's carefully get to it all with you tonight. And we're going to begin with ABC's Whit Johnson.
Tonight, sweeping action to fight the virus. The president says he's prepared to invoke the Korean War-era law, allowing him to direct American industries to produce critically needed medical equipment and protective gear.
We must sacrifice together because we are all in this together and we'll come through together. It's the invisible enemy.
President Trump closing the northern border with Canada to all non-essential traffic and potentially limiting the flow on the border with Mexico. The Pentagon announcing those 2 hospital ships will soon be on the move. The Mercy deploying to the West Coast. The Comfort will head for New York Harbor. And today, a new warning for young people.
There are concerning reports coming out of France and Italy about some young people getting seriously ill and very seriously ill in the ICUs.
Doctors raising the alarm that too many millennials are defying orders to avoid crowds after countless images like these, young people descending on Florida beaches.
You have the potential then to spread it to someone who does have a condition that none of us knew about and cause them to have a disastrous outcome.
The president today asked why some professional athletes seem to be getting access to the test more easily than other Americans.
How are non-symptomatic professional athletes getting tests while others are waiting in line and can't get them? Do the well-connected go to the front of the line?
Well, you'd have to ask them that question. I mean, I've read. No, I wouldn't say so, but perhaps that's been the story of life. That does happen on occasion.
The federal government now working to make more tests available, expediting so-called self-swab testing kits to protect healthcare workers. The kits could be sent home, where a patient would do a simple nose swab themselves. A tech would then pick up the sealed sample, considered less intrusive than the current test, a process the president himself has experienced.
I can tell you because I did it. But we have a current process that's a little bit difficult.
Across the country, people waiting for hours to be tested and then days for results.
I'm just getting worse and worse.
Fahima Jamali has been homesick for nearly 2 weeks with her husband and daughter, desperate for a test.
I am because last night my braces stopped and I just used this.
She finally found a hospital to test her, but now the wait for results.
Feeling is really not good. I just need my results back and see what they want to do for me.
In New York State, the number of cases soaring above 2,400, at least 16 deaths. The governor pushing back against a possible shelter in place, instead issuing an executive order requiring all non-essential businesses to leave 50% of their workers at home.
I understand the anxiety, I understand the fear, but you also have to remember the facts of the situation, right? And the facts are still very clear. We know what this virus does.
In New York, more than 1,000 new cases in just the last 24 hours. But Governor Cuomo also pointing out that more than 100 New Yorkers have already been released from the hospital. And tonight we're learning that lawyer at the center of the outbreak in Westchester County, who is in critical condition, now seems to be on the road to full recovery. His wife adding on Facebook that he's awake and alert. His first words to her, "I love you so much."
And that is good news tonight. Let's get back to Whit with us live tonight. Going back to that law the president is now considering that would give President Trump broad powers really to ask industry across this country for help in making supplies. Late today, after having brought it up earlier, the president did clarify that he has so far not taken that action.
David, President Trump says he's already signed it, but will only invoke this Korean War era law in a worst case scenario, adding that he's hopeful there will be no need. David.
Whit Johnson leading us off tonight. Whit, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.